Hello, everybody. It's me once again. I hope. There we go. Okay. Oh boy. But each time that I have to make one of these things, I shrink down the amount of time that it takes for the video to go all the way through. And it depends on how much time it took to actually make the damn thing. Like in this case, I think it was just about 5 hours or 5.5 hours or something like that. So I decided I'll shrink it down to the point where you can actually tell what it is that I'm doing. So it has to be a certain, like, you can't make it too fast or else you can't see what the hell's going on, right? So I do that and I look down and it's like 50 something minutes. And I think, fuck, I ain't got 50 minutes to say. Fuck that. But here we go all the same, right? Alright. Brief explanation. By the way, I'm going to drink a Mountain Dew Fruit Punch Kickstarter again. I think I did this in the last one. Oh my god, I have a problem. Oh my god. And I'm also going to eat a banana. God damn it, I'm going to have to de-level that later. I did that too close to the microphone. Fuck. Okay, anyways. Alright, since this is a good Christian video, you should probably turn this off now, actually. No, the point of this video is I'm going to be drawing one of the Scary Lesson Girls. I'm also going to be eating a banana, I forgot. Did I mention that? Well, either way, a banana is going to be involved in this video. In more ways than one. For those of you that remember at the beginning of the year, I think. Actually, let's go back in time. As I fight the... Damn, I should have peeled the banana from the other end. God damn it, I should have used the thing that monkeys do, where it's like they use the handle. Damn it, monkeys outsmarted me again. Alright. Anyways, okay. Listen here, kids. Last year around October. Actually, I think I started the month before that. No, it was October. It was October. Alright. Back in October, I had this ingenious idea of taking little known monsters and, like, making monster girls out of them. Like, cute little monster girls. I did the whole vote and poll thing where people got to choose their favorite ones and so forth and, blah, blah, blah. If you want to know more about that, just go back like a couple of art gripes. I'm sure you'll find something about it. But I did that, and got a few results out of that, and that sort of was the impetus for thinking, I could just make a story out of this. And that's what led to the idea of doing the Scary Lessons comic, which I ended up doing. Got that out of the way, made my own video about that no one cared about. I think I did that in January, is whenever I released that video. But once that happened, I stated that I was going to try to look into working on a visual novel. And of course, people jumped at the idea, and people wanted, when's it going to happen? And even then, I explained, no, I'm thinking about doing it. And I've got other things I need to be doing in the process. The tail gets a lot longer here in a second. Just like my pee-pee. No, let's not start that. Let's not start that brain. I had to get the Game Grumps thing done first. I also had a bunch of other minor projects to go through. I've been doing Patreon rewards for a while. Finally got those done. And I was going to start work on like this sort of thing fairly recently, but I started getting more messages on Patreon from more people wanting things. Oh, but that's a subject I've been over before. Finally got that out of the way, finally. So as a result, I've been looking more into the visual novel side of things. So to that end, I've been talking to a few people. Not too much, just trying to get... I'm trying not to bother too many people about this. But so far, it looks like the best avenue for this is going to be Ren'Py, which is made exclusively for visual novels. And it's almost a little bit too... it's almost undercomplicated as far as using this thing goes. But basically what I've been doing lately is... you sort of see it briefly, I think, in this video later on. Because I was talking about it on stream, and I started doing the later half of this on stream. But I've been doing things like height comparison charts and this model sheet work, preparing for that eventuality. I probably won't finish the model sheets, because I have a pretty good idea what they all look like so far. I mainly kind of just wanted to get back in the practice of drawing the girls. Because there was a lot of them that I could not remember what their names were, I couldn't remember what their personalities were, I couldn't even remember what their designs were supposed to be. So I've been doing all that. Like, this is what I've been doing. I've been doing prep work for it. Now, I will go ahead and tell you, I may not do anything with it this year. I may never do it. I may never do a visual novel thing. I don't know. But point being is I've been looking into it, and I think that's the best approach to try to get some sort of story out there. And I don't know if I'll try to ask for help in regards to this. I'll probably have to. Because even though it's pretty simplistic, I just don't have the time to... Like, the Patreon is for animations and art and everything else. It's not for some half-baked idea that maybe I'll make a game, maybe I won't. I don't know. So, what all this is going to entail, I don't know. But for the time being, it's just I have ideas, and I'm trying to explore those ideas. So that's what this phase is, that's what this video is. So, to that end, this is... Another thing that I did earlier, and I talked about this in my prior art Gripe video, is I've been trying to find more of a my style sort of thing. And I've kind of tracked that down to, I talked about it in the last video, but focusing more on exterior line work. And just focusing a lot on line strength. So, if I were to do something with that game, then some of the more elaborate pieces of art would probably end up looking something like the final version of this, maybe. But that's sort of what I was working on. This girl, this is a Tailypo. I never came up with a name for her. I never did that. But this is a Tailypo. And if you don't know what a Tailypo is, it's an American monster. And if you remember, the entire point of the Scary Lessons girls is mainly that a lot of them are things like just ghost, vampire, whatever, things like that. But I really wanted to bring more like monsters you don't really hear too much about. As far as American ones go, there are things like the Mothman, in this case, Moth Girl, obviously. Jackalopes, in this case, a Tailypo. To give some example, I also did some lesser known ones from other countries, but the Korean ones I made did not go over too well because some monsters do not translate well into adorable girls. But the Tailypo just basically comes from not an urban legend, but it's just sort of a typical... It's just a cute little story that's told of... I can't remember how it even goes now. But it's something like a guy is out chopping wood or something like that with his dog, and his dogs run off, and there's this whole thing. But the idea is that he keeps spotting these eyes in the darkness, and this great, long, massive tail, and no matter how it goes, because there's lots of variations, he ends up stealing the tail of the Tailypo, and that's the reason why it's called the Tailypo. That and the sound it makes, and so forth and so on. But, anyways, the idea is I was just taking all the elements of that story, and I think I mentioned this in the video prior last year, but someone did write some short story, I think, involving the Tailypo. But it's not like a copyrighted thing, so I'm not worried about that. But the general idea is that for Monster Girl, I'm focusing on 3 things mainly, and that is big eyes that really stand out, that make her look kind of... This is probably the most important thing, because I talk about how important eyes are, but my main focus was trying to get eyes that are both cute, but also make her look like kind of insane, maybe, or threatening. And finally, of course, would stand out really, really well in the darkness. So, just as far as design goes, her eyes are like that. Also, the ears I wanted to focus on, and her tail, obviously. So, big, long, floofy tail. Since a lot of monsters are sort of basic, like here I'm just trying different things. Those aren't her eyes. She isn't spaced out on drugs. I was just drawing little white areas around it. I hope you like me doing drafts, trying to come up with the ideas, because I do a lot of that. I do a lot of playing in this video. I think I end up sort of sticking more or less with this iteration here in a second. Yeah, it's sort of. It's not this yet, just yet. But yeah, those are my ambitions with her. I have been going through. I talk about the drawings, but the main thing I've been doing lately is writing. Actually, let me talk about that. Actually, regardless whether I do this or not, it's important to think about things in terms of process. Let me talk about this first. It's important just to do the thing. Because after I got done with the animation, I sort of sat here for a while. Like, there's like a few days where I just did nothing. And it feels so good to do nothing. Just play video games and that was it. That was nice. But of course I get to the point, since I'm me, of, well, I gotta be doing something. Like, I need a major project to focus on, or else this is gonna get bad. It's gonna get real bad. So, one of the things that I had to learn whenever I was younger, whenever I was trying to find my way in the world and so forth and so on, was you have to just do the thing. And I'm pretty sure surely I've talked about this before. But you have to get to the point where you just want to do the thing. It's often said by people that are millionaires, what's the difference between you and an ordinary person? And usually it's said either by them or by other people that the difference was pretty much nothing other than they decided to do the thing that they have been thinking about. And I know I've talked about this before, but people all the time say, I had this great idea, I have this amazing idea for an invention, or an idea that someone should do, or I have this great idea for a book that I want to write someday, trademark pending on that one, because everyone says that shit. But of course, they never do it. They never do. Because 90% of the population of the planet is exactly like that. They have lots of ideas, they have these little things brewing around in their skull, but of course they just never do them. Because that's human nature. Why would you? If you got other things going on, and you're focusing on just trying to survive, or doing your day-to-day job, or finding love in your life, or whatever the hell it is, then you're going to be focusing on those things, and these cute little ideas, they kind of preoccupy your, just things you're thinking about from time to time. But, they're not going to linger too long, and you're not going to focus too much on them, and you will eventually forget about them. Like, I imagine if I was, like, dating or something, then I probably would not spend anywhere near as much time drawing, for that matter. I should have done that. I forgot. I was going to originally make the tips of her her little ears white, and I forgot to do that in the final version. Doesn't matter, it probably doesn't look as good, but anyways. I should have followed my primary, but I turned off my primary whenever I was zoning for my color, and that's the reason why I completely forgot about it. Anyways, so a lot of people are like that, and they just don't do the thing that they've been thinking about, because they just get preoccupied with general life. And there's nothing wrong with that, this is how people are. But you ever wonder about, like, oh, this person's my hero because they did this, or, I really love this book series, he's amazing, he's a cut above the rest, I'm just not like these people that I envy so much, I just don't have it in me, that sort of thing. No, you're exactly the same as they are, they just did it. Like, that's the difference. That's the only difference between you and all these other people that, just did the thing. Is one day they just decided, you know what, this free time that I have, I'm not going to spend it playing a video game or something today. I'm going to sit down and I'm just going to write some notes. And then the next day they might think, I might spend an hour just kind of banging out this first chapter that will probably suck, and they just kind of just keep doing that. They just kind of hammer away at it for a while. And they don't do it because, well, I better do it. Like, that's the biggest difference. These things that get done, get done because the people that are doing them actually enjoy doing it. Like, that's the people talk ask me about art blocks and things like that all the time. Uh, how do you find inspiration to do something? I sit here in front of a blank canvas and I don't know what to draw. I draw like Tailypo here because she's cute and I want to draw her because she's a little cutie pie, and that's it. that's that's the only reason why I'm drawing her, because I want to. I'm not doing it because, well, I better draw X amount of pictures today, or else I won't get my practice in for the thing that I only do because I need to practice at it. Like, that doesn't make any sense. You just do the thing because you enjoy doing it. So, what's the difference between you and millionaires or whatever? They just did it. They had the idea for their business or whatever, and then one day they decided, you know what, I'm just going to do it. Like, that's it. That's the only decision that you need to make in your life, as far as whether or not you're going to have an ambition. Like, I talked at the beginning of the year about how I want to look into investing and things because I'm getting too old, and I'm going to be alone whenever I'm older, so I'm going to be at much more risk, like especially financially, once I start having health problems and stuff. Like, I don't even have health insurance right now. Um, so looking into something like investing is something I should be doing, but I haven't done it yet because I just haven't felt like doing it. And that's my fault. I may never do it, I don't know. But the more I look into it, it's like, oh, I don't want to have to think about that right now. And that's not an excuse. This is something that I think, and I just decide for myself I don't want to do it right now. And so it just never gets done. But there's going to come one day, where I just decide for myself, you know what, I'll just do it today. I'll just get it out of the way. And then I'll do it, and then that'll set the ball rolling, and then something else will happen. I don't know what it is, but my life will probably improve as a result of just making that one little decision to just do the thing. So, when starting, I get started on these rabbit trails and I have to track myself back down. When starting doing the thing, first you just have to make the decision to just do it. Like, before I even started, it's not like I planned out, alright, I will do the visual novel thing starting now. No, I was just sitting there and I thought, I'll do that thing. Like, I'll try to start work on the visual novel idea. It may go nowhere, but I'll just start doing it. And so I did. So as a result, once I decided to do that, I thought, well, the best way to do this is probably to, like, I've just, off the top of my head, I was just thinking, how should I go about doing this? And usually I'd start by doing notepad work. Like, whenever I did my novels and stuff, that's how I would do it. I come up with ideas and write my ideas down like that. But I started doing that, and I got like a couple pages in, and I started thinking, since this is visual novel, a lot of this is going to come down to character arcs, and it's going to come down to, like, the mechanics of the game. Like, do I want to have a system where you, like, build relationship points? Do I want to have a thing... Do I want it so that you have to replay the game a bunch of times? Because I know I personally don't like doing that in games. I much prefer it whenever you can just do everything that you want to do and have all the experiences and scenes and everything that you want to whenever you do it on the first playthrough, if you so choose. Then I started thinking, well, does that make sense in regards to relationships? Like, this is another thing. I decided, well, I don't want it to be a dating simulator. I want it to be more just a... like, sort of how I'm talking right now, about just general life, and the girls discovering, oh, this is how you just decide what kind of person that you want to be. That sort of story. So a lot of my notes ended up focusing on that, like, what kind of systems do I want? Can I support this? And so I started thinking, well, a lot of that's going to come down to something like scripting, and I haven't done any scripting in years and years and years. So am I going to have to hire out for this? Is there something that's already in the works? So I started contacting people and asking, what do you know about this? Someone mentioned Ren'Py, so I ran with that idea, looked at that, started looking at tutorials for, like, YouTube tutorials as far as how to use Ren'Py and so forth and so on. Just one thing keeps leading to another, and eventually you just keep doing it. So just the process of just trying to get a project done that you can actually be proud of, or say that you tried at least, it just comes down to just making the decision day to day to just do the thing. Um, it kind of works the same way that doing a drawing does. Like, I start with a draft that I have no commitment to at all. I'm just kind of sketching, thinking, does this work? Like, whenever you see the video, you see the final product. But there's lots of times where I'm drawing and I just decide, I don't want to keep drawing this, and I'll just close the thing, and it'll never get saved. I completely forget about it. It just doesn't exist anymore. And that's probably what, not so much these days, but used to, that was a majority of drawings that I did. Just, I'm going to come up with an idea that I don't think is even going to work. Oh, look, it didn't work. Oh, here's the height chart that I was talking about. I haven't gotten too far in on that one. I think it was Winry and Marin and Lolo are the ones that I drawn. And I mainly did that just because I was kind of interested in their height. Lolo is probably going to be the tallest out of all of them. And she's not even really a student, but anyways, yeah, just, I don't even know why I started down that. But whenever you're doing your work, that's all it takes. Just make the decision to do it, and you're done. You just have to make the decision. But in regards to her, and in regards to Tailypo here, her whole thing is... Well, the reason why I started drawing her is because I feel like I've done a lot of work with most of the other ones. So I decided, who can I draw that I haven't drawn a million times, that needs a little bit of work, that will be involved in some way that's not really that important, that will help me be able to kind of build a foundation for as far as the direction, the artistic direction. Like, how's that going to go? Who can I use that needs to be redesigned sort of anyways? And I figured, well, Tailypo. I haven't done anything with her. I thought she was adorable. She'll work well for a video that I can pump out real fast. So I decided to do that instead. Tailypo is, as far as my ideas now, like, everything can change. Don't get too married to your ideas. Like, there's lots of things that I'm thinking, at least, will be in this one that are from the old Godforge project. And you might think, how in the world do those two things intersect? They don't yet, but they will. That's how it works. Ideas change hands all the time. Like, you can look at certain writers or people that make movies or whatever, and you can see, wait, that's the same character, isn't it, from that other movie, or from this unrelated other series of novels this guy did? How come they seem to be the same person? And usually it's just because, the writer just likes that kind of character, and they've been developing that idea for so long that they're just utilizing it, and that's all it is. Unlike the perception that a lot of fans and consumers have, these characters and ideas and things are not chiseled in stone or anything. Like, they're ever changing, and they evolve constantly as you're writing. Anyways, but her concept right now is that she is just one of the gardeners, or the kind of keepers of the area. She just goes about and tries to take care of the general estate that they are living on at the time. Right now, the idea is that nothing's changed too much from the comic. They are... Here, I'm trying different pupils, seeing what's crazy or not. The general idea is that the school is out in the middle of nowhere. And my internal idea is that it's probably out in the Appalachians somewhere. Because I want it to be set in America. And I want it to be set in America because I live in America, so that's what I know. And there's going to be a lot of research I'm going to have to do for a lot of these things. Because I'm planning on having them... Since the whole idea is... It's scary lessons. It's a story about young people learning about how the world actually works and learning how to find their own avenue in life and stuff like that. So I was sitting here thinking, like, whenever I was writing, that's what was talking about last time. But whenever I was writing, I was doing things like, no, that's the other one. Where's my other notepad that I have open? Come on, Windows. There it is. Okay. I went through and listed all the students and listed all the teachers, the headmaster, and whatnot. I have a little area that's called arcs, like character arcs, and I just listed all the characters, what their personalities are, and what they will be going through in the context of the story. Like, I don't know exactly what it's going to be yet, because that changes as you write it, but just general ideas. Why did I just mention that? I hate my brain. It can be useful, but holy shit, does it get on my nerves. But I listed all the things that they probably will be doing, what their characteristics are, and blah, blah, blah. So that was the process as far as that goes. It's called, the text document is called Game Plan, actually. I haven't done one for her. But for all the other girls, it's like I have. Oh, that's what it is. I have things listed like Nin, for example. It's like low self-confidence, uncertainty about life choices and directions. She has a bit of a splitting thought disorder. Thinks in terms of extremes, so she sees herself as a bad person. And just all the various like young people problems that she would be going through at the time. And I would list out. Let's see, what do I do actually here? What's a good example of that? Like Raha at the bottom. She's the little Anubis sort of wolf girl. She's actually based on a golden wolf. But, Anubis, blah, blah, blah. I have it listed, has problems finding a career path because everything leads to potentially disappointing outcomes or harming others in some ways. And in the course of the game, she would learn that she has an interest in being a veterinary physician, as it doesn't trigger OCD and these other things that I was talking about to myself beforehand, and that helps her think of herself as a good person and actualize herself and blah, blah, blah. So, in the course of that character, I would say that she would start looking at that, and whenever I'm writing this, I'm thinking to myself, well, I don't know anything about being a veterinary physician. So, in addition to just saying that, I'm going to have the teachers in-game in the story start talking to that character about, well, this is what it would be like. And I personally don't know anything about it, so I will go research it, like I'm having to do, and then I will report that information back to you. And then they do that, and then later in the game, you have like a little scene where they deliver that information and say, this is what it entails. This is what you're going to be looking at as far as your education goes. The requirements to be this kind of thing. I found some, documentation, or I found some videos that show you what it's like to be a veterinary physician. Here, I brought a person from town that is a veterinary physician that I'm friends with, and you can talk to them. And then you can have a short discussion. Just things like that. Because that's how you do it. Like, as far as if you're a young person and you don't know what it is that you want to do, you just come up with a thought. Remember what I was talking about at the beginning, where you just do a thing, you have an idea in your head, and you just decide, I'm just going to do it. Or I'm going to just look into it. You just make the decision for yourself that you're going to do it. And that's the whole point of the Scary Lessons idea, is trying to convey that that's the answer for most of life's problems. It's just having agency with everything that you do. And trying to develop that as a person, because you need that in order to be an adult. That's this part of it. So, whenever you have to look into things like that, that's what you have to do. You can't just think to yourself, oh, it would be cool to be a pilot, and then just sit there. Like just fantasizing to yourself, sure would be good to be a pilot. Yep. Anyways, back to masturbating, or whatever it is that you're doing. Because, young people, you have to eventually do something about it. You have to look into it. You have to research. You have to kind of think, what relates to this? Why does it relate to it? How can I develop this skill? Do I know anyone that does this so that I can just talk to them about it? Even if you don't know them, you can still, call them up. I'm so-and-so from this school or whatever. I'm a young person. I was just curious about this thing. If you can't tell me anything about it, do you think that you could tell me someone else that would know it? Or do you know of any books or anything that I could read? Just questioning everything. Just look for ideas on how to be a better person. That's how you do it. Anyways, so in the process of writing, those are the things that I'm going to have to be worrying about, and those are the things that I'm going to have to research myself. Because there's a lot of girls, and they're not all going to be doing the same job, and there's going to be, like, it's not all about just them finding a job or anything. There's going to be a whole, like, mystery subplot and everything else. But if I even do it again, so if I were to go about doing this, I'm gonna have to spend a lot of time researching myself. It's the same with writing. Like if you're writing a book or something, you have to spend a lot of time. I'm holding like what's remaining of this banana. Barely, the peel is gone. I'm just holding a banana now, like an idiot. Whenever you're writing, you have to do a lot of research in that respect too. So if you decide this person is like a homicide detective, you don't know anything about homicide detectives. You have to go research it. Like Herman Melville, whenever he was writing Moby Dick, he didn't write Moby Dick because he just fucking loves whaling. He had to go research it for years. It took him years to research all that. And then he wrote the thing. And that took him years. Like it's just a lot of effort and work. But the thing is, you gotta think, wow, that would take forever. I'd want to do that. Change your perspective on this. Hold on. Eat my banana. Change your perspective. Think of it this way. Herman Melville didn't think to himself, well, I've got to do something, better write a book. I guess I better go do years of research on whaling. He didn't look at it like that. I'm sure, like, I don't know the dude. I mean, we made out once, but like, he wasn't thinking about it in that respect. I'm sure that, like any writer, whenever you're doing these things, the process of researching this is part of the experience of being a person. Your entire life, like, there's only so many things you can do in life. There's only so many experiences that you can have. And eventually you're going to get tired of doing nothing but playing video games, right? Like, not every positive experience in your life is going to be video game. Had sex with a girl one time, video game. It's going to be more than that. And the positive experience of life is, like, you don't have to be an outgoing person. I'm not an outgoing person. I hate going out. I really do. I don't like being around people. But still, I can enjoy expanding myself and thinking about things in new ways and just trying to just find new information. Like, I was thinking about, I don't have this in mind specifically for any of the girls, but I was thinking to myself, I was like driving down to get something to eat or something, and I was thinking about the process for some of the girls and what they would be interested in. And I started thinking, well, if I was a young person and I was thinking about things that would be cool that I'd be interested in, what would those things be? And one of the ideas that I came across was, because there was a crop duster flying overhead, and I was thinking to myself, it would be pretty interesting to learn to fly. And now I thought, what would that involve? Like, you can't be a professional crop duster. Because I was thinking, well, there's only so many... You only crop dust a field, like, usually, especially in this area, no one is going to hire a crop duster unless they absolutely need it, and I'm not going to go into all that, but you're not going to hire someone unless you need it, so you don't get that much work. Whenever you do, you're probably only going to cover a field, like, twice in one season, maybe, at most. And you're not going to have that many clients. So it's not something that you're going to be doing all year round. So I can imagine a conversation between a teacher and student of just a student going, oh, it'd be cool if I could be like someone that flew for a living. And they say, what, do you mean like a large, like passenger aircraft pilot? And the student says, well, no, not like that. That would probably be miserable. I mean, just like something way more intimate and fun, like flying a little biplane or something. And the teacher has to say, well, what kind of job would you have if you were doing that? And then it would go to something like crop dusting or whatever. And the students would say, of course, I don't know. Like, what does involve something like that? Uh, what kind of a job would entail just being uh, a low mark like pilot for hire? Would it be better if I were to be a plane pilot or a helicopter pilot or whatever? I don't know. Like me personally, I have no idea. And neither would the teacher, for that matter, and neither would the student. So that would begin the process of researching it and just trying to figure it out. And those are the things that I find interesting. Like when I was sitting there in my car driving, and I was thinking, that's interesting. I would like to learn more about that because that actually does sound fun to just fly and not have someone hijack you or something, or crash your plane into a cornfield because of aliens or whatever exactly is going on in that particular field. I don't know, but that would be cool. But you have to research it if you're going to write about it because you don't know anything about it. So you absolutely must find more information. But like Herman Melville, going out and researching whaling for years, the process of exploring that for the sake of writing later on is fun. Like, that's just part of the human experience. Like, you only get so many years to do whatever you want in life. So if you can connect the thing that you're doing for work to satisfaction and being able to expand yourself as a person, then that's just a better life as a result. Like, you can do whatever you want to. But whenever you find your job, whatever it is, that doesn't mean that you have to stop as far as whatever it is that you're doing as far as growing as a person goes. You don't have to stop everything that you're doing and just, well, I'm a security guard now. I'll just sit here and be a security guard until the day that I die. And it doesn't matter if it's just a job like I'm just doing, like I work at Walmart being a cashier or something. That doesn't mean that you have to stop exploring or expanding yourself. Like, it's so easy to get into a rut. Again, just you have to make the decision to just do things for yourself. This banana getting kind of weird. Really wish that most species of bananas hadn't gone extinct back in the 20s or whatever. Actually, I think it was in the 1800s. I'd be super interested to see what those were like, because apparently bananas used to be way more varied. There's another interesting thing, if you want to look it up, that the bananas that we eat today are mostly clones of themselves. Like, the banana that I'm eating is probably the banana that you ate, because genetically they're almost the same exact thing in every way. Because bananas as a species almost went completely extinct fairly recently. So just a few generations back, your great-great-great-great-grandfather would have eaten a banana that is completely different from the one that you can find. And you will never have that banana. Or like watermelons. Watermelons used to have like swirly patterns inside of them, and they weren't all red. In fact, watermelons, like ancient times, I think, this has been a while since I've read on this, used to, I think, be really tiny, and they were, like, they tasted terrible. Like, apparently they were incredibly sour or bitter or something like that, and they just tasted like shit. Like, they were just garbage. And they started breeding them just because they needed, like, a water repository, like a way of storing water. And that was it. And so they just bred them for that sake, and then over time they just decided, well, let's also make them taste good. And that, like, the watermelon that we think of today is actually incredibly modern as a result. Most foods are like that. It's crazy. It's one of those interesting things that you can just discover, and the process of discovering it makes you a better person. And it's just, it's not like, oh, I don't know where watermelons came from, so I'm a bad person or anything like that. You know, people like that at work can be obnoxious too. Like, oh, did you know? You get a banana? And you're like, oh God, shut up. Like, I have to go back to work in 5 minutes. I don't care about the stupid fucking banana. Like, that's the thing, too, so I get it. So it's not like every single thing that you do has to be this massive, like, it's changing my life. I'm such a better person. Bananas! It don't have to be that. But come on. Stuff like that is pretty interesting. So, if you want to do it, it's there. Because, you only get so much time in life. And you can do it doing anything. So, if you can find a way to do something that you think is super interesting, research that for the application in some other avenue in life that's going to make you money in the process, then so much the better. Starting to thunder here. Hope the power doesn't go out. Sure would suck to lose all this commentary. He said, knowing that that's exactly what's going to happen. And I can't hurry this up because it's a set time. Great. Okay, anyways. So, like Tailypo here. This character that doesn't have a name. It's just a Tailypo species or whatever. She doesn't have a characterization yet. But I was kind of thinking whenever I was drawing her, she's probably someone that used to be a student at the school. But more importantly, she's a local. Like, she's someone that just lives in the area locally. So she kind of just does this on the side. She took this as her job. Because maybe she flunked out of the school. Maybe it didn't go well for her. And maybe talking to her about it could be another interesting way of looking at it. Because sometimes this, like, I would love to portray the school as being this, oh, this is the answer to everything. It's not. This would not apply to everyone. Because even in the context of writing this, I was thinking, well, the headmaster of the school, which is basically just me. Because that's, like, the writer, just, that's the position it's going to take. It's not going to be a main character, really. But the headmaster of the school is going to be the person that's bringing everyone in, that has the vision for the school, so it naturally makes sense that it would just be the writer. Like, if someone else would ever take over the writing for any reason, then they would be the headmaster, that sort of thing. But I was thinking, damn it. I was thinking, once upon a time, as far as, gathering all the students together, that's what it was. How would they go about gathering the students? Who would they choose? What would be the criteria for how they would show up? Because there's not that many students here right now. And I was thinking, well, maybe it's because it's just starting out. It's an experiment that's going on. And there's going to be other things in regards to the little secret plot and whatnot that I was thinking about earlier. And how it relates to the Godforge project and all this other stuff. And I thought, well, it would also involve that. So there would be a reason for why the school is so small. But why would they be picking the students that they're picking? And I thought, well, it would have to come down to a personality thing. If not other things as well. And I was thinking, if you had a school that is designed for students like these, the students that come to the school would have to be people that are ready to learn, that want to better themselves, that want to become better people. And that's key. So they're not going to have students that show up and they're just problem kids. They don't want to learn. They don't give a shit. Like a teacher that's trying their best to help them. Like, this is a problem with a lot of teachers. Just, they're trying so hard to help the student, but the student will not help themselves. They just do not want to be helped in any way. They just want to goof off, and that's it. And no matter what the parent or this kids in general, no matter what the parent or the teacher does, they just cannot get through to them. Because the kid themselves just doesn't care yet. And they don't care because they probably have not had to go through enough, like, trials and tribulations. They haven't expanded enough as a person yet for that to be important to them at all. So it just hasn't happened yet. So the students at the school would have to be people that the teachers and the headmaster, whoever's doing the inviting, would know, well, this is the kind of person that wants to learn. They want to become a better person. They want to expand. They want to find a better avenue in life for who they want to be as a person, that sort of thing. Because if it's just your typical kid, then obviously the school's not going to work. Like, if you get me, like, little me, teenage me, at a place like this, I would probably shut off, like, immediately. Because I was the kind of kid that I just wanted to be left alone. Like, I didn't want to do anything. Because in my mind, like, I had very low self-confidence and all that. I've been over this before. But I had very low self-confidence, had no desire to really do anything because I thought, well, I'm just gonna fail. Like, nothing's gonna work. I'm never going to get any better at anything. Uh, Nothing's going to work out because I just live a cursed life. I may as well just not exist. And I was just like that. So if you get me in a situation where a teacher is like, I'm still like this. Like, this is another thing with me. Gosh, that storm's getting close. Hurry up, video, hurry up. But I'm still like this, where if someone tries to help me in a mediocre way, like a half-hearted way, like, hey, would you like to do this thing, buddy? Like, I was like this times a million whenever I was younger. Then I will probably do something like say either no or okay if you think you can get it to work, and I won't try myself, but I will see how far the person that claims they want to help me will go to actually help me. Like, I'll just sit there and almost dare them to try to make me a better person or to try to help me in some way. And if I think to myself, well, they tried a little bit and then they just gave up right away, I thought, yeah, I knew it. Like, I knew that they didn't actually give a shit about me. So as a result, fuck this person, fuck this entire thing. Like, I'm still like that. Where if someone, says, oh, I'll help you do this thing, I inwardly am thinking, yeah, I'm sure you will. Let me just see how far you're gonna go. And of course they give up immediately. He's like, yeah, I knew it. So, especially back then, and by the way, you think, oh, he's almost done with the picture. I spend a lot of time playing with this at the very end here. This loud. The thunder. You can probably hear it by now coming through the microphone whenever I'm talking. I spent a lot of time coloring this. But anyways, you just have to have the right mentality. And there's plenty of kids that this sort of thing would just not work for them. Because they're just not there yet. They haven't developed. And they're kind of just... They're self-inflicting a lot of their own problems. That sort of thing. And I thought with this Tailypo character, I was thinking, well, maybe she's a student that they thought, well, maybe she has what it takes, and she's local, so we'll start here. But it just didn't work out for her. And that's it. Like, that's all it was. And maybe they could talk to her and ask, how come you decided that you didn't like the school? Or maybe she did like the school, and it's just that she got into too much trouble, or maybe she, I don't know what it is. There's a million reasons why it would not work out. But maybe just there was some sort of misfortune, or she had to bow out because of personal reasons or something. Who knows? And maybe now she is just this keeper, this land keeper, the groundskeeper that I'm thinking. Groundskeeper Willie. She's just a groundskeeper now. And maybe she is perfectly fine with that. Because the teacher spent all this time talking about, you can be anything you want to be. You can be president of the United States of Europe, or whatever it is. And, you can be a pilot, you could be an astronaut, and here's how you do it. I'm going to help you explore this, and, blah, blah, blah. And here she is, she's just like watering plants. She's like, I like doing this. This is fun for me. I really don't want to go out and do all these crazy ass things. Crazy ass honkies. So, all the students might ask a character like this, why are you like this? How come it's okay for you? And that would be like a good path for her. Just to be someone that's in the area, she's not a student, she just sort of exists. And she's perfectly fine with being who she is, that sort of thing. So, that's what sort of the conclusions that I reached in regards to the Tailypo character ended up being. Again, I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do with her. I'm getting distracted by the storm because it's starting to, like, hail or something. I did not think it was going to get this bad. I looked at the weather earlier. But... Yep. That's Tailypo. That's kind of how I have been exploring the characters so far. And all the characters have been like that, and they will continue to be like that as I continue to try to draw them and write them. The problem that I'm running into now is... I've come across this problem before, but whenever I was doing a comic... Whenever I was writing a comic, I had a problem with like writing for a novel is very different from how you write from a ongoing comic. That is a lot of hail. I'm gonna die probably. It's fine. But how you write for a book is a lot different from how you write from a comic, because as you write for a comic, it's ever changing and it's something that you work on week to week. So you end up forgetting a lot of plot points, the things that you were thinking about a year ago, even though the story might be like a week apart or something like that. Even though the story might be like a week apart, you were working on the week that happened prior to that like a year and a half ago. So you completely forgotten your entire train of thought. So I found that whenever I was doing the comic, it became really disjointed, and I was losing a lot as far as the characterization goes, and it was just rough because of that reason. So if I were to do it in that same way, doing it with a visual novel, I would have the same problem. So my first step is actually probably going to be to try to just write out as much as I possibly can. And then after that, just try to apply it in-game. Which might be the wrong thing to do, because in my experience, whenever you're trying to translate ideas onto a medium, the ideas have to change. Or you just end up learning so much about what you're working with that you end up changing a lot of your approach. So, I don't know what's going to happen with it, but the process of discovering that is the reason why I'm doing it in the first place. That in addition to the fact that I would like to try to make the world a slightly better place before I become a skeleton, right? Alright, so there's Tailypo. Say goodbye, Tailypo, as I run for cover because there's probably a tornado coming. Alright, so, hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed me talking, rambling about this idea that may never go anywhere at all. See you guys next time.